Okay. No, I think in terms of the skills program, up to so far, I think maybe like what I can just say is that I'm enjoying. I think it's been a very learning experience because it focuses only on like the business side, which is something that we as primary producers do not know. I think what is also surprising is the element of jargons that they are using. That language is still a different language. It's still subjective. It's maybe unlike agriculture because in terms of agriculture we work with precision.
Mm-hmm.
But then in terms of it, sometimes it's very confusing. But it's been a very great learning curve, and I think the best things that I have maybe taken out so far, right? I could just say is the finances side of it, the number side of it. To say, how do we define assets, how we define liabilities, the different dynamics that are in there. Because in most cases, we just know finance to be production prices and also return of sales. But then you come to find that there are other aspects that maybe we may not be factoring in,
So
such as the cost of
would it be
sales.
something that you'll recommend to maybe like a farmer or someone who's starting out in farming, especially for those who don't have the your qualifications in agriculture? Would it be something that you would say to someone to say, these are one of those skills development or things that will help you in your business? Or do you think, or like, it is just a qualification that helps you, but are that critical? Or do you think understanding the finances and everything is actually just as important as understanding like the production side of it?
I think it's very, very important for like I think each and every farmer to go through that, mainly because farming is a business, my man. Farming is a business, which means you just have to apply entrepreneurship inside. You have to apply financial literacy inside. I mean, even for a typical example, right? Even if you do have maybe an accountant, right? I think it will be very much important that you can be able to understand the information that they will be providing.
Yeah.
Because because to some degree, people they are just minusing money and then
You don't even know, but like, but I don't know the ins and outs to your own business. It's whether
yes,
you know the production side of it, but you don't know the financial side.
and imagine, bruh, it's the financial part, which
Yeah,
is
there's
a
so
very
many
critical
implications
aspect of the
of your
business
business. Yeah.
because it builds self-sustaining businesses. So imagine if you don't know the language of that, how to even calculate your basic incomes or even the money that is there. I mean, even some of the things that they have mentioned, like, I don't think even small businesses do have that. It's reserve banks or reserve money for rainy days, issues like COVID-19 that have happened, whereby we couldn't sell anything. It helps in having reserve money so that when the business is going bad, you can just have money to sustain it.
Yeah, to be able to sustain it.
Yeah, so it's highly, highly critical to know such aspects of finance when you are a farmer because you are dealing with a product that you are going to sell. Yes.
Okay,
So
yeah.
financial literacy is highly important.
Yeah, something that I actually wanted to discuss, especially something that we've been able to see this week, especially being from different environments and different areas. I've seen or like we're having like, I don't want to say it is a crisis, but I think we're having like a major problem when it comes to like the art of presenting and public speaking. So like I think it's been one of those things where like the entire week it has been a headache for so many people. So I think for us who are in agriculture, we know at some point you have to be in the public eye, especially nowadays when there's no, you know, jobs are not as available as it were, you know, years back. So
Yeah.
like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about this thing of young people, especially like young people? Because we're seeing like older people in these conferences and these workshops, they are so open to participating and all those things. So, but when it comes to young people who has all the information, but they can't just get away from the fear or the anxiety of being in front of people. So, what do you think about that? What do you think might be the issue when it comes to this fear of us of speaking in front of people, presenting, sharing your ideas with other people? What do you think is the problem when it comes to that?
Okay, I think maybe for A to start with, right? I think whenever you have a business, presenting skills shouldn't be an issue, or shouldn't be a problem, or shouldn't be a headache. Mainly because you are selling a product. How are you going to get people to know about the product if you're not going to present it to them? How are you going to get funding or capital if you are not going to have the
If you're not gonna
necessary
be able to sell your
skills?
business.
Yes. Or even present in front of investors. So I think it's very, very important that we as farmers have that as a skill, and also even practice that to some degree. Because I think being shy or being, I think that at some point in time that could cost you
Opportunity.
an opportunity.
Yeah. Especially like employment wise, you know, this is just similar as going to an interview.
Yeah.
So if you can't allow yourself to get out of your own shell and allow yourself to go and because when you go into like a job interview, you're actually selling yourself
Yeah.
to your potential employer. So we started to see these things when it came to like interviews, especially for like internships. And then now you're seeing it when you just like this a classroom of like 50 people, your peers, and people are traumatized to just share their ideas or present something as small as just something. I just don't understand it. What do you think causes it? Like, do you think is because we're living in such a digitalized environment that people are always so cautious or conscious of, or I don't want to embarrass myself, or I don't want people to see me like this, or do you think it is a matter of self-confidence, or because I don't actually understand what seems to be the big issue with it, especially when we understand the importance of it, but what seems to be the cause of it?
I think even we as agriculturists, or whatever industry you may be in, right? You just have to know that presenting is always going to be part of life. I think even when you are in the employment area, right? And then maybe you are a research technician. And then when you are a research technician, and then you have to present to farmers to some degree.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, even if you are working under a production in a private company, there's a manager or there's a team of managers that you always have to report to. So as much as maybe people can just shy away from it, you will always going to face it.
Yeah, but what I want to know is what is the cause? Like, what do you think causes this thing? Like, why is it so?
I think maybe I was getting there. I was just warming up my answer.
What is the cause of it? What do you think is the cause of it?
No, in most cases, it's always going to be a stigma, and maybe an attitude towards something. Because maybe I can just only think of it. I cannot say it's an actual fact. But then it's just my own perspective or opinion, right? And then I just think maybe it's just a stigma thing. I think maybe sometimes it's just also getting being stuck to old habits in which we never practice in life. Because I
Yeah.
think this
Yeah.
thing does not necessarily have to start now. It
Mm.
started from like a very
I think it started in primary school.
yeah, and then you become comfortable with
Yeah, for
it.
me, I think it has to do with self confidence at some point, because you are so concerned with how I look to other people, how I come across to other people, how you always put pressure on yourself to give people like 100%. You're not allowing yourself, or you're not giving yourself grace to, to fail at things, or not to be as perfect at things, but to allow yourself to learn. So I think it comes down to self confidence. People are always so conscious of, oh, I don't want to embarrass myself in front of these people. I don't want to mess up a word in front of people. Maybe they might laugh, and then my confidence might actually go down and down and down and down and down. You know. So I think maybe those are just one of the
Yeah, one of the many reasons.
yeah, because you can see the importance of it. To say you're looking at almost every aspect of agriculture, whether you're in production, you are in finance, you are in research, you are in everything. So it will force you to at some point sit down or go out there and start presenting your ideas. It doesn't matter which field you are in. Everything that you do nowadays, because people are so into humans are so into communication, so presenting is just, or sharing ideas through, whether it's presenting or public speaking, that is just sharing of ideas. So
Yeah.
but I think we are chasing opportunities, but we are not allowing ourselves to fully maximize those opportunities, because we allow ourselves to be fearful of things that could actually help us.
Yeah.
So it is a big problem, and I just want to know, maybe is there other maybe types of solutions or ways in which young people can try and minimize this this problem, because it is a problem, because it does affect a lot of people. You see how we perform in interviews, we see how we shy away from presentations and all those things. So how can we are there any possible solutions that people can start to apply into their lives when it comes to this? Does it start with practicing? Does it start with allowing yourself to just push yourself to do things that you don't want to do, or where does it start?
Yeah, I think the only possible solution is just to go through it.
To just
Yeah, I
go
think
through
if you only get the necessary experience and then you build on that, I think eventually the shyness goes away, the confidence becomes gained, and then yeah, and then it doesn't become a headache anymore. You can only master it if you go through it.
yeah, I think that's
Because I don't think there's any confidence juices, there's no confidence steroids.
yeah,
You just have to go through
the
it.
only way for you to get better at it is to go through it. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it starts with practicing. To say you're not gonna have opportunities to present every day, so they're not gonna come every day. So during those times where you don't have anything to present, or you can just use your phone, use your phone and then just practice speaking on camera, speaking your mind. Maybe just introduce yourself. Maybe just try to do it every day. Maybe every day give it 10 minutes every day, maybe for like, let's say, 10 days. After those 10 days, you will see a difference. You will see how you start to speak better. You start there'll be a lot of things for you to pick out and say, okay, I can see improvement. So we can't just say we will just sit and wait for the day where they say there's workshop and then you have to present, because you have to put in the hours, and the hours are you practicing every day. So
Yeah, you just have to start small, man. And I think also you just have to prepare very well. I think the other issue is that people are just not prepared. So this is why they're afraid to say the wrong things. Yeah, because they are not prepared.
but you see, like in most cases, you go to an interview, you are prepared, but you can still see people not not doing well just because of those things, because they are not. I don't know if they do forget, or is the pressure that comes with the interview.
It's also the pressure that comes
or
with the value.
Yeah, because you see, sometimes you go to a job interview and then you see the importance of it, and then you prepare, and then you prepare, and then you prepare, but the next day, when you get there, they ask you one of the most simplest questions, and then you just freeze out, those things. So I think you're right in a sense that you have to pace yourself by allowing yourself to just do it, go through it. Another way is just for you to keep on practicing it when there's no pressure. And then another way is just for you to be more prepared, because the more you know about a certain topic, the more you are confident in speaking it in detail, because you're so confident in what you're saying, and you know what you're saying is factual. So I think that is very valuable to especially a lot of young people, because it's gonna be a nightmare, bro. Like, imagine in the next 5-10 years, the same people are the ones who are supposed to be working at big companies or departments or whatever, and then they have to go and present, and then we are faced with this challenge.
Yeah.
Then there'll be a problem of transfer of information, because you can't be an extension officer if you're not willing to be a seller of information, because that's pretty much what you're doing. You are going to those farmers, and then you are selling that information to them. You are presenting it in a way in which they will be able to adopt it. So if you are not confident, or you are not even willing to put in effort into speaking in public, you feel like it will start to affect the quality of information that goes to farmers. And therefore it will affect their ability, or it will affect their progress or their growth.
Yeah, it stops.
Then it starts to become a chain of negative and just from the point of you were not willing, or you were just not willing to face your fears.
Yeah, I think I agree to that.
Yeah, I think it is something that is very important for people to always keep in mind, to say, for the sake, because you do recognize that it's hard, therefore it means it needs for you to put in more attention to it, and grow with it, and practice more, and get more information. Similar to there's a lot of things that I think us as young people can work on, especially at a time where we can see there are no jobs, and then all these different types of things. So like, people are always going to be asking to say, okay, but there's no employment. Okay, sharp, what is it that I can do? I feel stuck. I don't have money to go to school. I can't get a bursary. So what is it that I can do? I'm in my 20s. I have a degree in agriculture. I can't get a job. What is it that I can do? Because people always say, okay, sharp, maybe you can start your own business, but we always say that not everyone is cut out for entrepreneurship. So what is some of the things that we can say to other young people, especially those who are just graduating, to say, okay, maybe you have graduated, you can't get a job. What is it that they can do? What are some of the ideas that they can, or something that they can really pursue in a way for it to actually help them? What do you think?
Okay, I think maybe it's a couple of things that they can try to do, at least to see progress, right? I think you just have to put yourself in a better position, right? And then what I mean by that is that further your education.
Mm-hmm.
That's firstly what you can do, and also maybe you can just further that experience. I think sometimes as people from the education sector, right, as soon as we obtain that qualification, then we start being choosy, especially in terms of money, to say, I can earn this, I can do this because I'm a scholar. But then when you come from a background that has no experience, I feel like you have to take part in those things so that you can gain experience, so that when the right job comes, you can be able to apply yourself, right?
Oh yeah, that is true, because you're right, because you I think it kind of solves this issue of company says they want experience, but I don't have experience. For me to get experience is for me to get a job first. Therefore, how am I going to get experience if I can't get a job to begin with? Because all jobs requires experience. And then you're actually saying something that is quite truthful to say. Our problem is sometimes we are too choosy to say this provides me with experience, but I'm not happy with the payment, or I'm not happy with the compensation, therefore I'm not
Or
going
even
to
the
take it.
environment.
But you're not really thinking it through to say this is the first step on the ladder. This is what's going to give me experience. So it means I have to go through the pain of getting maybe less pay, but I'm going to be getting more experience for that. And that experience is the one that I'm going to be using when I'm applying for jobs that I actually want, because I've actually put myself on the line to say I have done this and 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 this. So I think
That
it
gives
does
you
actually
value.
help. It does actually help.
Yeah, and then maybe like it also gives you value, right? And then I think also the other thing is that we as people, I don't think, sometimes I think we lack the efficiency to apply ourselves, right? You would find that even when we are, let's say we out of a total of 100%, right? You might find that 30% is maybe applying for jobs, and then you find that the other 70% is just, we're just complaining about it without doing anything about it. We are not putting ourselves in a better position to say that if an opportunity comes, we do not grab it.
Yeah, and just to add on that, I think also one might actually say, do we really know what opportunities are? Do we?
Yeah.
If an opportunity was to pass by, would you be able to say that is an opportunity? Because I think most of us are so concentrated on one path that anything that doesn't cross your path, you don't even see it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
There's so many opportunities that are around you that other people seem to be utilizing, but you are, for some reason, everything just seems to miss you.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's something that actually worries me to say. I think a lot of our people don't actually seem to be knowledgeable about about these things, to say there are so many avenues of that comes with opportunities. Let's say you look at but again, you look at other industries, for instance. There's so many opportunities in other industries. Maybe let's say retail, or public speaking, computer, whatever, influencing. There's so many opportunities that people are not just utilizing. Even if you look at into our own industry, we have tenders, we have agricultural influencing, we have so many opportunities that are in the industry that people just don't seem to be fully maximizing on.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big problem. We don't get to utilize the opportunities that are in front of us. So far, we know so many people, we have so many connections, we are so well connected, but it doesn't seem like we are willing to use those relationships, and so it is frustrating, because people are only looking at two things: getting employment. Then the question is, if you don't get employment, and then what happens? If you don't get employment, they don't have an idea as to like how are they gonna go in business, they don't have all those ideas to say, if I don't get employed, what is the next step?
Yeah, I think we don't have that word.
Then it becomes a fuck up.
Too comfortable.
Yeah, we are too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the problem is. We are too comfortable.